Hello, everyone, and welcome to Financial Planning Week, which starts today on the 3rd of October, 2022. This is an initiative that was started by the Financial Planning Institute to bring financial education to you, the consumer out there. And it's really an opportunity for us to showcase financial planners, to showcase who financial planners are and what they do. So if you like this conversation, if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, please be sure to subscribe to our Facebook channel, follow us on YouTube too, and you'll get more and more tips during the week. We do have a session at 12 o'clock every day this week, but also visit our website on www.fpimymoney123.co.za for a lot more tips and tricks about financial planning. So today we're going to be talking about a very interesting subject, which is about children and money. And I've got two of our wonderful members who are going to be in studio with me. And to start with, I'm going to bring in Gugu. And Gugu, hello, how are you doing?
Hello, David. How are you?
Very well, thank you. So to start off with, just give us a brief introduction to yourself and why you are so passionate about financial education.
Super. My name is Gugu Sidaki. I'm a certified financial planner and one of the co-founders at Wealth Creed. I also co-founded a company called My Three Piggies. And how it started, well, me teaching children, came from talking to adults about money, because that's what I do for a living. And the more I spoke to adults about money, the conversations then turned into educational content. So we started teaching adults about money. And the more I taught adults about money, the more they requested for this information to be available for their children, because the realization from all of those people is that a lot of the money concepts need to be learned as early as possible. And that's how I started teaching children about money. It was purely by accident. It was never the intention. But now that I find myself here, it's something I'm extremely passionate about. It's something very gratifying, and you almost see the results immediately with the children when the light bulbs go on and they enjoy the information, they enjoy the content, and you know that they're going to take it forward. So yeah, that's how I got into teaching children.
Fantastic. And my second guest today is Kgomotso. So Kgomotso, welcome. And again, the same, if you can just give us a brief introduction and why you are passionate about financial education.
Hi, thanks, David. It's Kgomotso Masongoa, and actually, I've been in the insurance financial services industry for just over 20 years. For me, it started as a bit of an accident. I wasn't really looking into anything that's got to do with insurance or money matters. I was just wanting to be an accountant, but it so happened that I got to land a job in one of the financial institutions. Now, being born and brought up in Alexandra, there's unfortunately a misunderstanding of the insurance industry, how it runs, but also with the money matters itself. I remember my dad had a car which was fully insured, and when he had an accident he needed to claim, being my jolly dad, he took forever to go and claim, and eventually when he decided to go and claim for the car, the claim was repudiated. When I got entrance into the financial industry, the insurance, I went back and I asked him about it. Why was it repudiated? And he told me it's because then he took too long to submit his claim. So as I journeyed in this industry over the years, I also realized that a lot of people were not able to get the benefits of what they actually needed because they didn't understand the actual language of money itself. And it's scary how people are more prone into getting into debt before even having a formal employment than saving as well. Yeah, so now it makes a difference in being able to get them when you're able to, or when they're in trouble already, try and see how you can help them to get out of it.
Kgomotso, thank you. And I think what's quite interesting, my journey into financial services was the same as yours, starting out as an accountant and then getting to financial services. And quite often when I speak to people about this, it is something very personal, like your situation with your father, that actually got us interested in this. And that's why I think most of us in financial services actually do it to help others, and not for selfish reasons. So great story and great to hear that. So the first point of conversation I want to have, and I think it's Simon Sinek who always says start with why. So Gugu, you alluded to the fact that you got into teaching kids because of what you learned or working with their parents. Why is it important to start at an early age and teaching children about money? So Gugu, we'll start with you and then go on to Kgomotso.
Sure. There's a lot of research that supports the fact that it's a lot easier for you to change or to learn a new habit than it is to change existing behavior. And the thing about money is your habits are formed from a very, very young age. And by the time you get to adulthood, your habits are set, and it becomes very difficult for you to change those habits, if they are bad habits. And we meet a lot of adults who are struggling with their money today because of information that they never had, or bad, I'd say incorrect role models that they had as children, not knowing how to look after their money as children. And I think that's why it's important to catch children as early as possible and to teach them the right ways, so that by the time they become adults, they know exactly what to do with their money, and we can avoid a lot of the issues that we're experiencing today with adults not saving enough, not understanding the difference between saving and investing, and not putting money away for their financial future.
Yeah, I love that. Start early and form your habits right from the beginning, because it's easier to form a habit than to break a habit. Kgomotso, from your perspective, anything to add to that?
Yeah, David, with the experience with the clients that I've been dealing with, when you get to meet an individual who is about to go into pension, but you unfortunately tell them the bad news that you either have to work an extra 10 years or you have to have a side job or consulting so that you're able to survive. It's very scary. And over and above that, the health issues that come along with it. I mean, the financial stress is traumatic. So over this time, I always ask and find out where it is it actually started, where it comes from. And yes, it comes back to the basics of how the person was brought up and how they've been managing or handling their monies throughout the years that they've been in employment or having their own businesses. So by being able to start a bit earlier, which is what now we are doing with those programs with the FPI, is that we're trying to teach from school age. I mean, or even younger than that, to say this is what you need to do and respect the money that you have, because money has got value. It's very important.
I like that, and that's a good way. Respect the money that you have, because money does have value to that. Now, there's a lot of debate about the school curriculum and you're teaching money in school. What is your viewpoint on having financial management and money management in the school curriculum? And ultimately, whose responsibility is it to teach children about money? Kgomotso, we'll start with you and then go on to Gugu.
David, it's brilliant. It's so important. I mean, when I started in the industry, I was 20 years old when I started into financial planning, and I wished I knew how to work with money before then. So starting at school curriculum is brilliant. But now what I've come across or what I've faced, because I also do those workshops, realize that there's so much need for the actual teachers themselves to go through that session themselves, because this is a subject that is so scary and it's uncomfortable for a lot of parents to even speak to their kids, let alone their own spouses. So now you're telling a parent or an elder to go and teach the school kids about it. How they also manage themselves around money, it shows in their behavior. So now we realize that in as much as we want to go to the kids, the scholars, we're actually now doing sessions for the teachers and principals themselves. Because do not be deceived that you're 60-year-old, now you're matured, and by default, you don't need to know about a budget or how to do your expenditures and savings, like Gugu says, it's scary that there's such a high need for that adult themselves. Once they get comfortable with it, they'll be able to relay the message in a much more easier and comfortable way so that everybody gets comfortable with it. You teach something that you're not happy with or comfortable with, you teach a 1 hour session in 20 minutes. The rest of the day, I mean, the kids are happy to have the rest of the 40 minutes free, doing nothing. Yet you're losing so much important time that you should be instilling very good skills and values. Yes. So initially, yes, it's the teachers, but also at home. We need to be able to start from home as well. We are all responsible.
Fantastic. Gugu, anything from your perspective?
Yes, I agree with Kgomotso 100%. I was going to say that, yes, it is the responsibility of government by the school curriculum to teach children about money. But like with anything, like manners, like hygiene, you can't abdicate that responsibility and behavior. You can't abdicate those responsibilities solely to teachers and the school. There is a massive element of homeschooling as well that's required when it comes to personal finances, because again, to go back to the research that's out there, is that children learn by observing. So by observing the dominant adult or parent in their lives, and a lot of the time that's their parents. And so if parents don't know how to manage their money effectively, it doesn't matter what the school curriculum is going to be teaching them. They're going to absorb some of it, but it's not going to be effective. So we need a combination of the two. The schools need to teach the material, but we also, as adults, and quite rightly, as Kgomotso said, the teachers, it's an entire system that needs to support the education and the learning of children when it comes to money.
Yeah, they say it takes a village to raise a child, right? So it's not just, we can say, start at school, but then it doesn't follow it at home, or do at home and it's not done in school.
Yeah.
I think quite an important thing, you can also have a lot of fun with it as a parent. So in my house, I elected to teach my children about tax. And how I did that is I get the first bite of every ice cream, so they understand how tax works, and that you got to pay the man. And so we all benefit out of that learning. So
Love it.
it's all good. So Gugu, in your intro, you also mentioned you got a company called My Three Piggies, and you also wrote a book series about children education. So what prompted you to write these books?
It literally came from, as I said, conversations that I was having with parents. It was inspired by the parents. The more I spoke to parents, the more the requests came to create material for their children. And that's, like I said, when we teach adults and when we talk to people about money, they realize that they needed the information 20, 30 years prior to us meeting them. And that's exactly where they came about.
That's fantastic. So again, it's providing a support system for parents who can use these to help have those conversations with their children. So as we identified that as a parent, I do have a responsibility to teach my children about money. So do you have any tips for me as a parent, how I can start this conversation with my kids?
Yeah, I think the misconception about teaching children about money is that we think that we need to give them spreadsheets and we need to show them formulae and things like that. It really starts with like basic behavior. I'm a mom of two, so I know how hard it is. But one of the best things that you can teach your children about money lessons is not giving them everything that they want. And it's so hard as a parent, especially when you're in a position to be able to give them what they want. But it's important for you to say no occasionally. I experience it with my children a lot, and I think all of us do. When you go into the shops and the first thing they see is the sweets and the chocolates and the chips, and this is my mission in life. It sounds harsh, but to say no. And they kick and they scream, and it's a massive fight every time we go to and from the shops. But it's important. The reason why it's important to say no to your children occasionally is that it teaches delayed gratification. And with delayed gratification, they get to learn all sorts of other important skills when it comes to managing their money. So they learn to plan, because then all of a sudden they know that they can't just walk into the shop and spend money. They learn to save because they know that they can't spend all that they have. And they eventually become the right kind of investors because they know that benefits come with time. And it's a lot easier to teach somebody the concept of investing for the long term if they are measured and they know that they can't have what they want when they want it. So you don't have to have the spreadsheets and the formulae and the massive knowledge around investments and personal finance. Just say no occasionally and explain to your children why you're saying no. And I promise you, in a decade or two, you're going to be creating you're going to be sending the right kind of adults into the world.
Yeah, so the power of no, very, very good. That reminds me of I think it's the Stanford marshmallow experiment, where kids were told you can have one marshmallow now, or if you wait 15 minutes, you can get 2 marshmallows. And that study found that the people who actually waited were more successful in life. So teaching that it's not about giving up, it's about delaying the gratification. I love that. Kgomotso, anything to add from your side?
Yeah, David, also to teach them about earning that money. I mean, my son is, turning 3 on Sunday, and I'm kind of indirectly teaching him already. What we do is, obviously the house is scattered with all sorts of toys, and whenever he needs to clear up, it's a fight. And then he wants either to give be it a banana or hot chocolate, or watch a channel of cartoons. So what we basically do is we just say, okay, for you to be able to get a banana, for instance, just clear up the toys. So starting to use the basic language for them to understand that before you can get a reward, you need to earn it. You don't just get it. As Gugu said, you may be in a position to be able to give to your kids, but just giving out, you're actually teaching them something that tomorrow you'll regret. And because they're so young, it will be difficult to undo. So we just for them to understand the importance of valuing money, that you earn it, so that also once they get that reward, they enjoy it, they respect it, because then they had to work hard for it. It wasn't easy.
So I love this conversation, and those are 2 very brilliant tips. So the power of no, and also the power of responsibility. So it's not just something that you get, it's something that we give. So Kgomotso, Gugu, again, great conversations, great tips. I think it's important to empower our youth to make the best decisions for them so they can be more successful for that. So I don't know if you've got any final words before I let you go that you want to share.
Yeah, so parents are always wanting to know where to start the money conversations with their children. And it always starts with them, I say. So talk to your children about how you earn your money. You don't have to divulge that you make 1,000 rands a month, but they need a general idea of what you make, and they need a general idea of what the household costs are, so they understand that money is actually spoken for, it's allocated for, and if there is any extra money, that's when you're then able to give them what they want. But I think that conversation is crucial, because I think it also helps children manage their own expectations. When they know that there's 100 rand coming in and there's 90 going out, there's very little wriggle room. And the thing with children is they understand, once you speak to them like people, they grasp these concepts quickly. So start with you and how you make money and what it costs to run your household, and then you'll see it flows from there. Don't be scared to have that conversation.
Yeah, so don't be scared, involve them in the conversation. And yeah, you don't have to go into the details, but a high level understanding of what it is. And as they become more educated, they can be involved more and more. Kgomotso, final words from yourself?
David, I always like to talk about this part of having using your talent habits to make extra money. Normally, or it's usual that at school, it's as if I'm being taught to become an employee. We really need to let those teenagers know that by being able to fix that bicycle every now and then, by being able to sell those oranges every now and then, we're actually going to be making yourself an extra cash, and you don't necessarily have to be working towards being an employee. I remember when I was growing up, there was a point when I used to go to a Saturday school and we had camps. And at times my mom didn't have money. So she'd give me a bag full of old clothes. She says, okay, go sell. Money that you make, it's your money for the camp plus spending money. I would go out, come back 2 minutes later and say, no, it's impossible. They're saying no. She said, okay, then no camp. So obviously I have to go to a corner, speak to myself, get hard and say, you know what, it's either I do this or I don't go to camp. So I go out. An interesting part, David, if my mom gave me a price tag of R5, I would sell at R7.
Yeah.
You know, and then when I give my mom the R5 and I know I'm going to get money for camping, I still have that R2. So already entrepreneurship is instilled. So even when they've got their monies at high school, you know, they buy lunch but they're able to form something with their talent, work on it, get that extra money. But then you need to be able to know also where it goes so that you are able to see the value. Again, I'm going back to value. We need to stop being slaves to money. Money needs to work for us. It shouldn't be the other way around. We cannot fall sick because of this. We cannot have sleepless nights because of money. Money should be scared of us and think, oh, goodness, she's got so much money. I don't even know where I'm going to hide. We actually need to have that as a problem. Instead, it's scary. This is why we are in the country, not saving. You know, sicknesses, which shouldn't be. So start being an entrepreneur, become a business person at a young age. You know, at high school, whatever that you can do better than someone else, or you see that you're one of the ones to do it, start selling those cookies. You know, Gugu's got a business, you know, and then she's got books on the side. I mean, it's a lot. It's brilliant. Yeah. Anyway, I could go so much more, but
no, brilliant.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure that will have sparked a lot of things. And I agree with you. I think when we look at things like the unemployment rate, we're going to solve that through entrepreneurship, through people starting their businesses and using their skills to look after themselves and their families. So, Gugu, Kgomotso, again, thank you very much for opening Financial Planning Week for us, and great conversations about teaching our kids about money and learning from that. So appreciate your time and being with us today.
Awesome. Cheers, guys.
Thank you so much. Bye.
So everyone, thank you very much for following us today. And as I say, you can visit our website, letsplan.co.za, for more information. And also subscribe to YouTube, turn on notifications so you can get the other sessions coming up during the week. And thank you very much for listening and watching to this. And see you through the week. Goodbye.